Okay, so today I want to do something a little interesting, right? Let's see. So during the course of the week, I asked a couple of people I know how they read, right? Because I think that's another thing people fail in. They don't know how to read. Now what do I mean by they don't know how to read? Let's see, we'll see, we'll see. Let's see, let's pick a folder. Uh, Just give me a moment. We're setting up our Obsidian. What is Obsidian? Use it for notes. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Cool. Now, first thing you see here on Obsidian, right? Obsidian takes all your notes and places them as nodes, and you'll see the importance of this later on, right? I have a dual screen setup. Now the reason I say this is because I think I'm gonna be referencing the book um, from the other screen. So that might not be visible, but I'll bring it from time to time onto this tab so that you'll get a point of reference as to what I'm referring to. Cool. Now, I want us to read the Candlestick uh, Trading Bible together. We'll do this together in the sense of we'll first read it, right? And for where I can, I will explain, okay, what I think they mean by this and whatnot. Um, and then you can utilize that for your own benefits. Um, I'm just looking for a whiteboard. Then we can begin. Um, let's see. Okay, cool. There, we have a whiteboard now, right? Um, so we're gonna use a mirror whiteboard. And I'm just gonna be on the free tier. We're gonna use this to draw text, all that stuff, right? Cool. Now let's go back to Obsidian. Obsidian is for note taking. This tab, if you have above it, new notes, new folder, So let's document this folder, the Candlestick. And people often don't believe me when I tell them, hey, this book changed my life. But it did. But I had to read it, right? It didn't just change my life because it was in my drafts or whatever. It changed my life because it was read. So this is what a notepad looks like. Let's see. I just want to see something. So we'll look at how we take notes. So the first chapter or in the table of contents in the Candlestick Bible. So here, right? There's intro, there's overview, there's history, there's what is a candlestick. So we'll say, let's name this one Candlestick Trading Bible, page 4 to 20. Actually, it's already in a folder. So let's leave that out. Cool. Right? Now, this is the Candlestick Trading Bible. Now, what I like about Obsidian is you can attach stuff in an MD format. I think you can paste images as well. I'm not too sure. I think I did paste the image. I just want to see something real quick. Yes, you can. Awesome. Now, the reason this is important is because this is what you're referencing with what you saw in real time. It's not something from the Candlestick Trading Bible that you didn't see. This is something you saw in real time and you documented. Now, why is this important? Cool. I'll get back to that. So it's already been 4 minutes, right? And we haven't done anything yet, but it's because I want you to set up your tooling. So we'll come here. Cool. Let's minimize that for now. And then let's pull this and then pull out Candlestick Trading Bible. Cool. Here's our Candlestick Trading Bible. So let's read this together. Introduction. The Candlestick Trading Bible is one of the most perfect. Okay, we don't care about that. We don't care who's the father. This trader is considered to be the most important in history. He was known as a god of markets in these days. Um, his discovery made him more than $10 billion in today's dollar. Okay, so you made money, right? Cool. I spent 10 years compiling, testing, organizing, and consistently updating this method to create my own new version. The Candlestick Trading Bible is the trading method that is going to finally take your trading where it should be. Consistent, profitable, easy, and requiring very little time and effort. This trading system is based on Japanese candlestick trading patterns with the combination of technical analysis. All you have to do is spend as much time as you can to master the method that I'm going to show you and use it to trade any financial market. It could be gold, could be NAS, it could be anything really, right? So, what are Japanese candlesticks? They are a language of financial markets. And if you can understand candlesticks, guys, like I know there's SMC and all these things, but focus on the detail. If you can understand this little thing here, what each one means, you don't need to complicate your trading process. The problem is, in pursuit of knowledge, when something seems too simple, people often neglect it because it seems too simple, right? And you're like, yo, if I'm supposed to make thousands or even millions from this, it's supposed to be more complicated. No, it's not actually. That's what's shocking. It's not supposed to be more complicated. This is as easy as it gets. Cool. Now, the easy to follow strategies detailed in this work will provide you with profit making techniques that can be quickly learned. Most importantly, learning the principles of market psychology underlying the candlestick methodology. Let's look at that. Learning the principles of market psychology. Market psychology, not personal, market, right? Underlying the candlestick methodology will change your overall trading psychology forever. The Candlestick Trading Bible has already proven itself. Fortunes have been made using the candlesticks. Blah 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 blah. So this intro, cool overview. He tells us how it's divided. We don't really care about that because we're gonna read every page. I'm gonna do this with you. This is gonna be a video series until we finish this book. Cool. Okay. Let's look at the history. Before you look at this thing, you need to understand where it comes from, right? Candlesticks have been around a lot longer than anything similar in the Western world. Why is that important? An important thing to look at is this guy calls this the Candlestick Trading Bible, right? And how long has the Bible been around, right? So he's referencing that right here. He's not just saying it's a candlestick, it's not a random name. That name was perfectly curated based on the fact that the thing we're studying has been around for a really long time, just like the Bible. Cool. The Japanese were looking at charts as far back as the 17th century. Rice trading had been established in 1654. You know what? We don't care about this history. You can read it because you probably have this book if I'm sharing this with you. If you don't, I'll probably attach it to a drive link or something. So, this is where it starts being important. Why are they important to your trading analysis? It's because they are considered a visual representation of what's going on. So the important thing is not necessarily the candlesticks, it's understanding what's going on. The candlesticks are just a visual representation of what is going on. When you trade, you are trying to understand what's going on. You're not trying to understand candlesticks. The candlesticks are just a means of understanding what's going on. I hope that's understandable. They're flexible, blah blah. They can be used in dot theory, ended wave theory. Look, if you've communicated me over my trading career, I've probably mentioned Doe theory and all these other weird things to you, right? Cool. Candlesticks are used by most professional traders, banks, blah blah. They can take your money easily if you don't understand the game. Even if you trade $100,000, you can't move the market, you can't control. Yeah, $100,000 is very small in a $1 trillion market. Cool. Yeah, here's the nice stuff. What is a candlestick, bro? What is a candlestick? So, this is a. Actually, it doesn't matter what this is. Does oh it does. Okay. This is a buy candle. So it's a okay. For the purpose of this video, let me see. Okay, he uses a lot of black and white. For the purpose of this video, I will change my chart colors to match what he's referencing. Sorry about that pause, technical issue. Cool. For the purpose of what he's referencing, we will look at it in his colors. So let's see. This is open, this is closed. Okay, so white is bullish to him and black is bearish. We'll come here. Let's close that. Settings. Then we'll come on here. Okay, this background. This helps you as well because now you know how to change. So white. Yeah, we'll call white, then we'll call black, and we'll change that for each thing because we want it to be clean charts. Come here. Cool. Now the issue we have is our charts is white, right? So let's make it gray. I think gray should work. No. Better, I guess. Cool. Now, yeah, looks actually pretty clean. Cool. Let's go back to that Bible. Now, if you come here, he shows us two candles. This one with the open here and the close here. This one with the open here and the close here. What does that mean? Let's do this. Let's place these side by side because right now we're not looking at charts necessarily. Now, here's the white candle, right? So white is bullish to him. How do I know this? Because his open is here, his close is here. If price opens here and closes here, it means it went up, right? It went up. If it opens here and closes here, it went lower. I hope that makes sense. What that means in marketing. So we're looking at gold charts, and that's what I'll focus on mostly because this is what I found to be quite profitable. His open is at the bottom, so this is where this candle opened. When this is a minute chart, so the first candle that formed, when this candle formed, it started here, closed here. Then the next candle came, started here, right? Open, closed here. Open, close. That's understanding candlestick. Open. So when it's a candlestick in the upwards direction or bullish candlestick, it means it opened at the low, closed on the high. The reason I'm explaining this, and you can skip ahead, is just in case there's a beginner watching this as well, you understand what's going on. Cool. Now with his bearish candles, it opens here and closes lower, opens, closes lower, opens, closes lower. Hence it's red, hence it's bearish, because it closed lower. When this session opened, it opened. Let's give you a quick example. You're selling lollipops, right? At the beginning of the school day, it's early morning. Everyone wants lollipops. You sell them for R2. Towards the day's end, you'd realize, you know what? Actually, it's end of day. I would like to be very liquid right now. I'd like to have a lot of money and not a lot of lollipops. Let me sell them cheaper for R1.50. So you sell them for R1.50, and that's your close price, right? At the end of that day session, we follow your day as session. At the end of that day, you started selling them for R1.50. So your candle for lollipops would have been bearish. Reason being, the open would have been higher, right, than your close. Because open early morning, you opened at R2. Then you decided, you know what, that's not working for me. R1.50. So it closed lower, and your candle for that day would have been bearish. Following day, what would happen? This is actually a great example. Let's go to a whiteboard. Cool. So, what are we selling? Selling lollipop. No, it's not big enough. Let's go 64. Yeah, lollipops. Sorry for the spelling. So, lollipops. What's their price? R2, right? and we'll take the same thing. Can I copy and paste here? Yes, we can. Cool. We make it 1.5. Cool. So place that there. Now you'll have to forgive me. My drawing isn't the best. But so let's see. £2 big. So when I say big, I mean beginning of day. And come here, close of day. Right? Cool. Now remember what I said to you. This is your open, right? Open. See that? You close because it went lower. Right? Is that making sense? If you've seen candlesticks, we'll go with the color red, obviously, because this is a socket coloring, but I think you get the point. Cool. So this is a red candle because open was here, close was here. Now day 2, right? Day 2 of you selling lollipops. Remember yesterday's close. So the last time people saw you yesterday, you were selling these for 150. Now you're like, no, guys, it's still 2 rand. In fact, it's going to be 250, right? Beginning of day, close of day will make it 150 again. Right? Cool. Now, the important thing to note here is that 50-cent difference. What does that translate to? It translates to a larger candle, of course, because there's a larger price movement. Yesterday's difference was only 50 cents. Today's difference is 1 rand, which means we might have a larger candle, correct? Cool. Now, for the purpose of this illustration, because there's concepts we haven't seen in the Bible yet, but I'd rather us go through that now. For the purpose of this, let's say while you were selling these lollipops for 250, you realize actually no one's gonna buy for 250. So because of that, we'll do this. So this is day 2. Now this is very important because I'm trying to explain a concept here. So if you don't understand, shout out. Let's see. Cool. Let's say this is what happened during the day. So day 2, beginning of the day, like actually these lollipops sold up by quite a lot yesterday. So I'm selling them for 250, and then no one was buying. And then you're like, actually, it's not working out. I'll sell it for 200. It's fine, right? But at peak, you asked for 250. You might have not gotten it, but you asked for it, right? Then you went lower. So this is where 200. So I wanna label this. That's a bit big. Yes, let's do this. Then let's do that. And we'll use text. So this is let's go back to that Bible. Let's see. I think they reference yes, there we go, shadows, right? So for us this would be an upper shadow. Do you see that right there? Because it means that's your high. That's the highest point it's been, right? But it didn't close there, hence it didn't form part of the body because it didn't close there. So there's nothing, as much as it got there, there's nothing significant about it. But it's important to note that it was asked of you at some point. If someone asks for your 2-day report of your lollipop selling station, you will tell them, I actually offered them for 250 at some point and no one bought them. That's an important point for analysis because if I'm trying to buy your lollipop shop, and this is getting a bit more complex for just lollipops, but cool. If I'm trying to buy your lollipop stand, I need to understand can I sell these for 250? You telling me you tried and it didn't work lets me know, okay, it's been asked and people didn't go for it as much as I asked of them. So um let's not ask for 250. But it's an important point for my analysis as the person buying your laptop, I mean your lollipop stand. Because if you hadn't told me, I would have thought, hey, you know what, I should upmarket these or upsell these for 350 so that I make more. But because you've told me that it came at that price at some point and I didn't get those 250s, I know, okay, the market's not going to give me 250 for a lollipop. Cool. I hope that makes sense. Now, shadow is the history of the candle. So let's come back here. We'll just do this. So this is the high, right? Just like we saw in that Bible. And then this is the open, because that's where we opened it at. Actually, sorry, forgive me. I made a stupid example. Let's say you started selling it at 2 and realized that demand was high. And you're like, we'll make it 250 because everyone wants these lollipops. So you opened here, right? Which means that's where you started. Your high is how expensive it got. I hope that makes sense. Your high is how expensive it got before it came back here to that open. Right? And then you're like, nah, people are buying. They went back to 150, which is the close. So this is the price of your lollipop represented by candlesticks. So already we have two candles from your lollipop stand. We have candle 1, we have candle 2. Okay, final example on this whiteboard, then we refer back to the Bible. 3, cool. Let's say you realize, okay, maybe the demand for lollipops on Fridays isn't that much. So your open, let's do beginning of day. Yeah, let's leave it the same way, except we have close now. Close of day. Awesome. Then we'll draw a rectangle, right? But let's say this is I'll just show you see something. Okay, let's say this is now 150. Yeah, I'm so lazy to label. Let's see. Okay, let's say the open here, and then here, right? And then let's remove that and say open close. Yeah, right? But let's say this is now your pricing differs. You start selling it at let's say you realize people can afford these things. You start selling it at 300. You'll forgive me with that tight wording, and then you close it at 2 rand, right? Now, here's the interesting thing or the important thing. What we're going to do for the sake of this example is draw lines, right? Yeah, let's do that. Then, okay, that doesn't work. Okay, there we go. Cool. And then we come here and we come here. All right. Now we're gonna label each thing here. So what's the highest price we saw? We saw 3, right? 3 rand. We need this font smaller. Let's make it 36. Awesome. So 3 rand. That's gonna be 250. It's gonna be 2 rand. It's gonna be 1 rand. Right? So we start writing this out now. 2.50, and this is 2, and this is 1.50. Awesome. Now remember, Everything I draw here is for reference. So I'm not doing this for vibes. Now, if you come here, day one, right? There you go, day two, day three. Day one, let's draw day one out in this line, whatever we call it. So 152, 2 rand. So that's day one, right? Day two, same thing, except this one has a wick. Let me plug a charger real quick. Okay, so that's day two. And finally, day three, which opened at 3 rand and closed at 2 rand. Awesome. Oh yeah, let's draw this line because that's your wick, right? So from that, let's come from there you go. So that's what you would have seen. I wonder if I can color these. Yes, it seems I can. So if I open this high, so it's red candle. This one's red as well. Then this one will probably be red as well. Because the open and close is the difference is net positive. Or what I mean is the price it opened at versus the price it closed at is higher. So all of them are red. Whereas had it been the other way around, I started selling at 2 rand and end of day because demand was high, I sold at 3 rand, then it would be a green candle because it means I opened at 2, closed at 3. I hope it's making sense so far. Cool. That's what we would have seen. And for the sake of this example, let's say this is a D1 candle, which means, so based on the time frame, if I say D1, it means each candle represents a day. So each candle represents a day. So that's 3 candles, that's 3 days. All right, cool. Let's proceed. So I hope this example makes sense about lollipops, right? Day one, beginning of day, sold at 2 and closed at 115. Same thing here. Our all-time high was 250 actually. So we opened here, went all the way here, came back here to and then closed at 150. Day three, opened at 3 rand, closed at 2 rand. So we closed at a higher price. Now, if I was someone who was assessing Mpo's lollipop stand in terms of profitability, I'd say, hey, Mpo seems to be charging higher each time. There seems to be a rising trend in prices of lollipops being sold by Mpo. Cool. I hope this really helps understanding candlesticks. Let's go back to reading. I think this guy explains basically what I just said. If the close above the open, we can say that the candlestick is bullish, which means the market is rising in this period of time. Bullish candlesticks are always displayed as white candlestick. That's a bit incorrect. What he means by that is in his book, bullish will always be white. The most trading platforms use white color. Okay, cool. We don't care about that. You can find colors used to differentiate between bullish and candlestick. Okay, the filled part of the candlestick is called the real body. The thin poking lines above and below are called shadows, right? What we drew out there. The top of the upper shadow is the high. The bottom of the lower shadow is the low. Candlesticks have different body sizes. You have long and short, right? This is deterred or influenced by the movements of price. If there's a wider movement in price, just like you remember here in our whiteboard, this one is higher because there was a wider movement in price. You see that? Because it went from 3 rand to 2 rand. The other ones were moving by 50 cents. Cool. So long bodies refer to strong buying or selling pressure. If there's a candlestick in which the close is above the open, this indicates that buyers are stronger and are taking control of the market during this period of time. Conversely, if there's a bearish candlestick in which the open is above the close with a long body, this means the selling pressure controls the market during this chosen time frame. Short and small bodies indicate little or buying or selling activity. Just like if the candle here is shorter because it moved by 50%, 50 cents, it means there's not much going on in terms of movement and price. Candlestick shadows. The upper and lower shadows give us important detail about the trading session. Upper shadows shows us where the high was. So here's our upper shadow. Lower shadow, yeah, shows us the session low. Now, candlesticks with long shadows show that trading action occurred well past the open and close. Just like I told you, we need to know that you sold it at 3 rand. Even if people never bought it, we need that important piece of information to understand that it got there. As much as the open was here and whatnot, it got to 3 rand at some point. If a Japanese candlestick has a long lower shadow and short upper shadow, this means that sellers flashed their washboard abs and forced price lower. Flashed their abs basically, right? But for one reason or another, buyer came in and drove prices back up before the end of the session, before the end of day in our scenario, right? Cool. These are the most, he's talking about himself. I'm not going to introduce Holy Grail, blah, 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 blah. If you know how to read candlestick directory, you'll be able to understand what these patterns tell you about the market dynamics. What I want you to do is focus on the anatomy of the pattern and the psychology behind its formation. What forms that candlestick we see, right? Because this will help you get the skill of identifying any pattern. If you can get the skill, you'll be able to understand master, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Cool. Our first lesson. Then this is where I close off this video because I've explained a lot already. And we'll look at one kind of stick pattern here. The bearish engulfing bar. Now, what is a bearish engulfing bar? Okay, let's start here. The engulfing bar, as it states in its title, is formed when it fully engulfs the previous candle. The engulfing bar can engulf more than one previous candle, but to be considered an engulfing bar, at least one candle must be fully consumed. The bearish engulfing is one of the most important candlestick patterns. So true. The candlestick pattern consists of two bodies. The first body is smaller than the second one. In other words, the second body engulfs the previous one. Here's the illustration. So first candle, so day one in our lollipop scenario, and day two. This one engulfs or covers the previous one, right? Makes it look insignificant. Think of a tall person standing in front of a short person in a picture. You won't see the short person, right? Because he's engulfed by the tall person. So that's how it looks like in your charts, and it gives us valuable information about bulls and bears in the markets. In the case of the bearish engulfing bar, so there's bullish and there's bearish. So this is bearish we're looking at right now. In case of bearish engulfing bar, this pattern tells us that sellers are in control of the market. When this pattern occurs at the end of an uptrend, this indicates that buyers are engulfed by sellers, which signals a trend reversal. See example below, right? Here's the example. Now look at that. There was a lot of candles. Then this happened. Then there was a bearish engulfing bar because this candle was engulfed fully. Look at how tiny that was. And there was this large candle that just engulfed it, right? And then look at what happened after. So if you had sold on the close of this because you're looking at, hey, that seems to be an engulfing, you would have made profit, right? Because the following candles, look at what they did for you. As you can see, when this price action occurs in an uptrend, we can anticipate a trend reversal because buyers are still not in control of the market and sellers are pushing it to go down. You can't trade any bearish candlestick pattern you find on your charts. You will need other technical tools to confirm entry. Reason being, as you said here, this indicated a uptrend end and a trend reversal, which means we should be looking at a downtrend now. Now that wouldn't make sense if you're doing this at maybe an uptrend, right? Because what if you hop in here and it continues to be an uptrend later on? That's why you can't just take anyone you find and say, cool, bearish, bearish, bearish. Yeah. We'll talk about this in details in the next chapters. Right now, I just want you to open your charts and try and identify the bearish candlestick patterns that you find. For the sake of this, actually, let's do bearish and bullish. Then we've covered the engulfing bar pattern. The bullish engulfing bar consists of two candlesticks. The first one is a small body and the second one is the engulfing candle. So same thing, except here it's the bullish one that's engulfing, right? The bullish engulfing pattern tells us that the market is no longer in control of the sellers and buyers will take control of the market. When a bullish engulfing candle forms in the context of an uptrend, it indicates a continuation signal. When it forms at the end of a downtrend, it indicates a reversal. So let's see, what example does it give us here? This was just a side range market, and then that happened, and then it started ranging up, right? The example above shows us how clearly how the market changes direction after the formation of a bullish engulfing bar pattern. The smaller body that represents the selling power was covered by the second body that represents the buying power. So the important thing to note is each candle just represents selling and buying power. The color of the bodies is not important. What's important is that the smaller one is totally engulfed by the second candlestick. Don't try to trade using this setup alone because you'll need other factors, and we'll discuss this in the other chapters. Now it probably wants us to identify the Persian bullish engulfing bar. Okay, cool. So that's where we'll stop for this video at these engulfing bars. So now I want us to actually look at charts, right? Let's close this. Close that too. Close that too. Cool. Let's look for engulfing. Now remember, I told you all I wanted you all to trade on the M1 if you've been paying attention to my other videos. But just in case you haven't, let's look at an H4 chart because that's what people generally reference. Cool. Now look at this. I've identified one already. Square, right? Do you see it there? Sorry, there. Look at this candle. Look at the one that engulfed it after. And look at what happened after. You might have thought, hey, I might be wrong, and then boom, profits, right? Now remember, he said you can't use this alone, and that's important, of course. You might have thought, hey, that's a bearish engulfing as well. And look at what would have happened to you straight after. Went straight against you. But hey, here's another one, right here, right? And look at what happened there. Went down. Here's another one. Here's another one. So these are bearish engulfing candles, which means we can see that there's clearly a downtrend. Even here, there was another one, right? So, there's a lot to be identified here. And then look at this trend reversal, because we're going down, right? We keep going down, down, down. This happens, and look at what starts happening after. You see that? So obviously did that, and then started pushing up. You would have made money. Let's look for another bullish engulfing. Here's another bullish engulfing here. See that? Bullish engulfing. And what happened straight after? Went up. Here's another one. So there's so many ways in which these things can be identified. Here's another one right here. That's a bullish engulfing, right? So we've identified bearish, bullish engulfing. I just want to see if we find more. Here's another bullish engulfing, right? Let's see. Here's another bearish engulfing. Remember, it has to cover the previous candle. That's what makes it an engulfing, because it's engulfing the previous candle. Here's one where you would have gotten it wrong, because it did engulf, but it didn't go your way, right? Cool. So yeah, we've identified them in the charts, and that's all I wanted to focus on in this video. In later videos, we'll start looking at, okay, when do we enter, blah blah. But this is video number 1 of the Candlestick Trading Bible, and basically we will just keep going through each page. So right now we're done here. We finished at the bullish engulfing part. We will study the doji candlestick pattern next. And depending on how long the video seems to be, we might just look at a couple of more patterns. And then we'll keep going until we reach that page 168, until we finish this book together. And that's how we're going to do this. Because I've realized people read but don't take it into context or don't go that deep. Now, we're not done with this video. Now, the important thing to do, that's what I want to train you guys to do. We'll use ChatGPT. I'll just close like this. Seems I'm on the wrong. Okay, give me a moment. I have Plus, but it really is up to you whether you use Plus or not. That should work in both scenarios. Just looking for the account in which I have it. Okay, nope, it's not there. Yeah, there we go. Cool. It's come here. Here. So this is my Plus subscription. So you can come here and just tell it I'm studying Candlestick patterns. And I was looking at, so this is how you read. You take notes based on what you don't just read and say, cool, I understand and leave. You need to have a point of reference. When I read that book, what was my purpose? What did I identify? So I'm studying candlestick patterns. I was looking at, don't mind the spelling errors, you'll probably figure out what I mean. And I was looking at engulfing patterns, patterns. I want to remember what I studied. We looked at, and now the cool thing with chat is it knows what you're referencing most of the time. It's smart enough, right? So you don't have to explain what you looked at, but you just want to have this in a point of reference, almost like writing your own book, right? We looked at how the candles form and where the open is for a bearish candle and for a bullish candle. So the open and close, and how it could either represent a candlestick, a trend continue. That's basically a summary of what we saw, right? Continuation or trend reversal. Please place this for the empty or in markdown. So empty is markdown. Now that's the important thing. You need a laptop also. Like you can't read your cell phone. That's just reality, unfortunately. There's things you won't keep into context when you're on a cell phone. So first thing first, if you don't have a laptop, start saving for that. Please place this for me in markdown. Cool. So see, that's why I said we like chat, because it's smart. It knows what this is. It's not like writing on a notepad and then you have to, it knows what we mean. It's just, you don't want it to give you the answers. You want to read and then come to it, so that it will just give you the answers and not explain what this means, or you might not fully understand. That's why we had to read the book. It had pictures as well. So it's very important that we read the book, and then we come here just to summarize what we looked at, right? And then we copy that. So do you see what I did there? The free version of ChatGPT does this as well. It's not just my paid one. Sorry, wait. I clicked something by mistake now. Yeah, there you go. So we will copy. Okay, now because this is a paid version, you can even say visual style, please, and it should give you images. Let's see. Oh, okay, that's what it means. Yeah, but that won't work for us. Cool. Let's just copy this and we come back to Obsidian. Remember that page. So you will come here, say delete, you'll delete that image and paste this, the markdown. Also, I hate emojis. I don't know about you guys. I hate them so much because it just gives off chat GPT. Let's see, and come here. Cool, awesome. Now, look at that. Now we have a graph view, and this becomes very important when we're done though, not now. But we now, if you click here, right? So when you come onto Obsidian and you click here at the graphs, you find all your nodes in nodes. So because this is the Candlestick Trading Bible folder, if we come here, so we will have page 4 to 20, page 4 to 30, 21 to something, and you want to reference those notes of what you recorded in that book, then you click there, page 4 to 20. So to make this even better, let's just do this. Engulfing patterns. The reasons we want to do this is because engulfing. Cool. We want to come to these nodes and remember what was being studied in those pages. So if we just left at 4 to 20, will make sense, right? Now we have that. Later on, we'll have a bunch of nodes, and it'll be just nodes. And I'm a programmer, right? I have a software engineering background, and I will help you utilize my background to understand how you can improve your trading systems and whatnot. Because we're gonna turn this into a second brain eventually, right? And that's gonna get pretty interesting. And we'll attach it to an AI and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I'm also developing a system which identifies what should happen in a chart, and this is what I'm doing as well, right? I've got summaries of things I've written over time in nodes, and the AI uses those nodes based on what Mpo has seen, because we went and verified whether engulfing patterns work, right? And that's the important thing. We have to verify everything. The AI won't do that for us because it just tells you right all the time. We have to verify, okay, we identified this works, so cool. We want to go ahead with that. There's things we'll read and you're like, okay, you know what, that doesn't seem to work for us. Then you don't record it. What you're recording here is how it should be identified. You're basically teaching the AI what a candlestick is, what the open is. It might know, but you want to teach it so that it understands it in your way, so it can trade like you. That's the important thing. Because it can do anything really, right? So if you just tell it go trade from your river, it won't trade like you. We want to trade like us. So we want to record our notes so that it has our context or our brain. So we'll keep going with this, and that's why I want you to use Obsidian to record your notes, because eventually we will be plugging this in to do something with it. So yeah, that pretty much covers the end of the video. I hope you learned a lot about engulfing patterns. What we could do as well, just final thing, is maybe do this, because we did identify these things. Come here and paste it, right? So that you have that image in your notes as well. So that's what I like about this. You can attach the image to your notes, so you have almost like your own book, right? So even memory tip, I usually remove the lines as well. But most of this is just up to you. You decide what you want to do. Take that out as well. Take that out as well. Cool. Right? Now we have a representation of what we found, not what was in the book, what we identified, what we found. Safer thing to do would also be to label. I'm just lazy now. Label that this false indication, this was a correct indication. You know, we want to record the parts where it was false as well, so that we can study later. Why did that not work out? Why was that false? Cool. That pretty much summarizes the end of the video. I hope you learned a lot from this video. And yeah, we'll read page 21 next and read from that and continue.